We just got a new standard banner featuring Irene and Ceobe as our 6 stars, and Liskarm, Warfarin and Andreana as our 5 stars. Before we get to the banner itself, make sure to support my channel by liking, commenting and subscribing. It really means a lot to me. I would also like to point out that I only talk about these operators' gameplay. Waifus and husbandos over meta any day. You should always pull for operators you want and like instead of listening to me. I'm not your dad. So let's get to the banner itself. We currently have a better banner to pull, and I cannot recommend pulling for this one. If you absolutely need a single target caster, you should consider buying Ceobe from the certificate store. So let's take a look at the operators. Starting with Irene, a dual strike card whose attacks deal damage twice. All physical damage she deals has a chance to ignore a portion of their target's defense, and the chance increases to 100% against aerial units. Irene also gains some extra attack speed that is doubled if there are any sea monster enemies present. Her first talent provides a nice DPS boost and has great synergy with the levitate effect that Irene's skills inflict. Levitate making enemies unable to move, attack or use skills, and also makes them aerial. Irene's module allows her to ignore some extra defense and provides her even more attack speed and some extra attack. Irene benefits a lot from the extra attack, and the module is worth getting if you already enjoy using her a lot. Moving on to her skills. Irene's first skill is a low SP cost auto trigger that has her next attack deal extra damage, levitating the target for 1 second and following up with some extra damage. The skill provides good value for AFK Knights enjoyers. Her second skill is also very low SP cost manual trigger AoE physical damage attack that also levitates enemies with less than 3 weight for 4 seconds. With this skill's 2 charges, you can crowd control light enemies for up to 8 seconds. It's a great skill for dealing with groups of light enemies and making sure your snipers are prioritizing the right enemies. However, you should remember that Irene herself cannot attack aerial enemies with her basic attacks. And finally, we have her third skill that deals damage to all enemies within range, levitates them for up to 4 seconds, and then attacking the enemies up to 12 times with extra damage. This skill is going to be the go-to skill, dealing massive AoE or single target burst damage. It can be used against bosses or groups of enemies, and with certain buffs, it can absolutely destroy most bosses in the game. Let's have a quick summary. Irene is a dual strike card who can ignore a portion of enemies' defense and can levitate enemies with her skills. Levitated enemies count as aerial units and are unable to move or attack. Levitate duration is halved against heavy enemies. Her first skill is a low SP cost auto-triggering boost to Irene's next attack, also providing a short duration levitate. Second skill provides AoE damage, up to 4 seconds of levitate and 2 charges. And third skill provides extremely high AoE or single target damage. The third skill can absolutely melt bosses, especially when combined with something like Warfarin's second skill. Overall, Irene is a good operator. She provides decent damage and crowd control with her levitate effect. Her long duration levitate from her second skill can be helpful when dealing with groups of light enemies, and her first skill provides value for AFK Knights enjoyers. She can also absolutely delete bosses and tough enemies with her third skill, especially when buffed. She is a very potent boss killer. Moving on to Ceobe, a single target caster whose attack deal portion of target's defense as extra arts damage and gains extra attack and attack speed when there are no allies nearby. Her first talent is absolutely amazing, allowing Ceobe to turn her enemy's defense into arts damage that already counters most high defense enemies. Her future module will further increase the percentage of defense turned into arts damage, and making the percentage grow gradually with each consecutive attack against the same target to up to 79%. The module is definitely worth it once we get it, as it allows Ceobe to deal massive damage against very high defense bosses. Her other future module further boosts the attack speed and attack she gains from not having any allies nearby. It also allows her to generate SP every time she attacks an enemy leader or elite. While the second module isn't bad, it requires you to always position Ceobe away from allies, and overall has less synergy with Ceobe's role as a caster that can kill high defense bosses. Let's take a look at her skills. Ceobe's first skill is a low SP cost auto-triggering boost to her next attack that prioritizes unblocked enemies and binds them for up to 3 seconds. The skill provides some decent crowd control with its bind and also provides value to AFK Knights enjoyers. Her second skill makes Ceobe attack a lot faster and prioritizes the highest defense enemy. The second skill combined with Ceobe's first talent makes her absolutely amazing at dealing very high damage to very high defense bosses and elites. It will be her go-to skill for most stages, as it does everything you want to bring a single target caster for. And finally, we have her third skill, that provides Ceobe more range, a massive attack boost, makes Ceobe's attacks deal physical damage, and silences the target. The skill prioritizes enemy with the lowest defense. The third skill is a unique caster skill, but also very niche. It can deal very high physical damage to low defense targets, but has negative synergy with Ceobe's first talent. It's an awkward to use skill that kinda defeats the main purpose to use a caster, but can still deal very decent damage in stages where most enemies have very low defense. Let's have a quick summary. Ceobe is a single target caster who deals extra arch damage equal to a portion of her target's defense, making her extremely effective against very high defense enemies. Her skills also allow her to prioritize different types of enemies. Her first skill prioritizes unblocked enemies and provides a decent duration bind. Second skill prioritizes enemies with the highest defense and makes Ceobe attack a lot faster. And her third skill prioritizes enemies with the lowest defense, while also providing extra range, massive attack boost, and makes her attacks deal physical damage. The third skill is very unique caster skill, but has negative synergy with Ceobe's first talent and a role as a caster. Overall, Ceobe is a good operator. Her first talent is absolutely amazing when dealing with high defense enemies that you usually bring casters for. Sadly, it's impossible to talk about single target casters without mentioning Aya. While Ceobe provides different kind of strength than Aya does, and Ceobe is more specialized in dealing high single target damage against extremely high defense targets, she still provides diminishing returns to those who already have other very strong casters like Aya. And finally, we'll take a quick look at the banner's 5 stars. Warfarin is pretty much a must-have single target medic because of her second skill providing one of the best offensive buffs in the game. Liskarm is overall solid defender, and Andreana is a bit of a niche sniper, but still decent, especially if you want to run an Abyssal Hunter squad. If you already got Texas Altar or don't want to pull her banner, and if you do not already have any of the 5 stars, you should consider then pulling. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more Arknights content. See you in the next video.